A 38-year-old engineer from Bordeaux in France will administer the law today. Jean-Pierre Bonnet taking charge of his 6th major international and his last international appearance. He's retiring now. Wales get the game started with that long kick down by Gwyn Evans. And so the very orthodox start to this match. The great stadium seething with tension and excitement. And there, right at the front of the line-out, Richard Moriarty for Wales, and opposite him, Bill Cuthbertson of Kilmarnock. Alan Phillips is the thrower. Williams, Davies, that was meant for gravel. Eddie Butler picked up. And referee deciding that the ball had gone forward, and there was just a touch of accidental offside as well. That's a penalty against the Welshman for charging into that scrummage. John Rutherford.
And although there's no tension obviously in the match, we could see that Wales obviously want to rectify the result at Twickenham a couple of weeks ago and show to the support here that at least they can do far better than has come from the side in the previous couple of games.
Welsh 10 metres line. Ian Milne at the front for Scotland opposite Graham Price. That was almost gathered in by Robert Norster, but Scott had got offside, and right away Gerald Williams is ready to take a quick tap penalty. However, as he explains to Gareth Davies, there were fellows in front of him anyway, and Gareth Davies puts it up to the Scottish 22. So the young man looking for a really outstanding performance, the Welsh skipper. A little bit of a burden on his shoulders here. Keen to open out and yet wanting to get a victory. Deans throws. Tapped that back there by Moriarty. Through there went Calder. So there's this experienced Scottish front row with Jim Aitken on that far side, the 34-year-old, Colin Deans, and then Ian Milne on this tight head side, backing against Ian Stevens. It's a lovely strike by Phillips. Gerald Williams hoisted that one, meant for Clive Rees, and the new cap, Jim Pollock, just gets there in time. So that's a nice handy thing for the new cap, the one new cap in the Scottish side. Coming in yesterday, the PE teacher from Newcastle has got a touch of the ball early. And you really have to be quick to beat this quick man, Clive Rees. John Rutherford. Roy Laidlaw was the lad with the left-footed touch kick. So that's the Scottish 22. And interesting that the Scots, although it's the Welsh throw-in, they've left Jim Calder as tail gunner at the line-out, number 6 right at the back there, as he was against the Frenchman. But Rodri Lewis is a pretty useful citizen, and that was why I was questioning it, because he's so quick there. The drive on there with Moriarty helping. Now Gerald Williams looks for it. It wasn't a good ball. Deans was there. That was the pick-up by Moriarty again, helped by Alan Phillips.
Well, the Wales have set up a very fine attacking opportunity there by that burst on Rodri Lewis. But Scotland, I thought, did exceptionally well to quash it, which of course is one of their fortes in that situation.
That was a very sound Scottish scrummage. They've held it in and they've caught Gerald Williams offside. The referee waiting for advantage. Well, he's put his hand up for the penalty. He's decided the advantage wasn't big enough. John Rutherford might feel in his mind that he got in a very good kick to touch. But they're very interesting department there, because the Scots scrummage held that tremendous Welsh shove. So John Rutherford gets the chance. He hasn't found touch from that one. Gareth Davies hoists it across. Roy Laidlaw waits, took it well. Called for the mark, free kick given. Thumping tackle by Robert Ackerman. Roy Laidlaw going for touch and finding it.
And as you so rightly suggested, I don't think Rutherford would have been too pleased with having to take that penalty, because he put in a fine first kick. Nice touch of the ball, but obviously wanted to make even more ground, rushed it a little bit and dropped it short, and it could have proved a difficult position for the Scottish side.
They're on halfway. That was Fight who got hands to that one, and Cuthbertson did the sweeping job. Now it's Laidlaw out to Rutherford. Rutherford, a high ball. Gwyn Evans waits inside his own 22. Always a lovely feeling for a fullback to make a clean catch and a good smacking kick to touch with his first touch of the ball. Colin Deans this time with the throw. Ian Paxton, number 8 for Scotland, is the key man, and up he goes, helped there by Derek White. Williams, Davis. That's angled. Irvine was very well positioned, but the kick is good. Graham Price of Pontypool with 2 tries to his credit for Wales. Richard Moriarty just behind him, then Ian Stevens. But it was meant for Robert Noster. That was Lewis who got it at the tail. He was held by Calder, offside in going over. And here's a real chance for Wales to open the score. And not surprisingly, Gwyn Evans of Maesteg is going to have a shot at goal. It's really a very pleasant day indeed for goal kicking. And this one well within Gwyn Evans' range. The underfoot conditions have firmed up a bit from yesterday when we had a whole day of rain. And the ball is dry and very little breeze to bother him. Kicking towards the taff end. So Gwyn Evans with 23 points in this championship so far, and 51 altogether in his 7 internationals. Evans then, he pushed it out. Roy Laidlaw took it. He was over the goal line, so he didn't carry it over, and it's a dropout, and disappointment for Evans. 8 minutes gone, no scoring. John Rutherford. Nicely out again to Williams. Davis. That's to Gravel. Gravel, this big, powerful lad from Llanelli. The midfield battle cruiser, they call him. That's Gerald Williams. Back there goes Baird. The bounce beats him, and it beats Laidlaw as well. And the Welsh forwards were really on the rampage there. And that was an offside decision, I think.
The good thing to watch there really in that Welsh attack was how they set up Ray Gravel. There is no doubt about it that Gerald Williams and Gareth Davis have struck up a very nice understanding at half-back. And what was particularly good there was that Ray Gravel set up the ball, and unlike many occasions in the past, the ball wasn't allowed to die. And Gerald Davis was quickly to probe that blind side with a neat little chip, which obviously caused a few problems for the Scottish side. And in so doing, given Wales an opportunity with another penalty kick at goal.
Gwyn Evans again, the lad born in Maesteg, went to Maesteg Comprehensive. They'll all be holding their breath down there at Linvey Road. And he stroked that one well, and it's a good one. So Gwyn Evans scores his 54th point for Wales and puts them ahead by 3 points to 0. 9 minutes of the first half gone. Certainly on the ball that they've won and on their pressure so far, Wales deserving that 3-0 lead. Great feeling all round here, because this match so important to both countries, although it's the end of the season. Andy Irvine. Wyn Evans. He sliced that one badly. John Rutherford leaves it for Andy Irvine. That's the kind of ball he loves to run. That's found space. Up comes Irvine still. He may have been slightly obstructed, although unintentionally. That big kick has Cuthbertson tearing back. Up comes Gerald Williams. Cuthbertson taken by Donovan. Donovan has a lot of men outside. Gravel out to Gareth Davies. Oh, he had Evans outside. Across comes Baird, and Baird bursting up the touchline. He's almost up to halfway. He's got Paxton inside him. Paxton is tearing, chased by Clive Rees. A marvellous tackle by the wing. Inside to Domes. Domes to Calder. What a try! That surely must be the try of this season's internationals. An incredible score for Jim Calder. His second try for Scotland. And it all came when Gareth Davies kicked, and he may be wishing that he's passed. And here Roger Baird, as he's so often done for his club, Kelso, started the counter. Now Ian Paxton, the number 8, was there. He was chased across field by Clive Rees. Look at that tackle, a beauty. But up came Tomes, and Tomes fed inside, and Calder made the line. A marvellous score.
Yes, and in that magnificent try, I feel it's Ian Paxton has unfortunately, what seems to me from this great distance, pulled a hamstring, because let's be fair, he must have been doing about 100 miles an hour to carry on that fantastic Scottish move, and it'll be a sad occasion if he has to leave the field, but I do believe he's had it. But coming back to that try, I'm sure that whereas everybody in the ground will give Scotland the credit, Welshman, and in particular Gareth Davies, has already kicked here to allow Baird to have the ball. Gareth really had a 3-2 situation. We see Paxton here coming on the inside, as a good number 8 should always do. And did I say the second row behind him in Alan Tomes? My God, what was he doing there? But it's the continuity really, which is the breathtaking part of the movement, and it was Jim Calder who actually dotted the ball down. And it's not often we see tries of that calibre in international rugby at the moment, and way better than to score it at the Cardiff Arms Park, and I'm sure that even Welshmen will have taken great pleasure in watching that fine try.
So there's a great sad moment indeed for Scottish supporters as Ian Paxton goes off the field there, tended as always by David McLean. But everybody down in Inverleith Way in Edinburgh and Ferryfield will be thrilled that Jim Calder has got his second try for Scotland and given Andy Irvine the chance to convert. Stroked it well, but just fading past that right-hand post. So Scotland are down to 14 players at the moment. The replacement for the breakaway positions is Gordon Dixon of Gala, but they're one of the happiest men in Cardiff at the moment, Jim Calder, adding to his try against England last season at Twickenham. Gareth Davies gets it started. Up goes Alan Tomes. Phillips took it in. Now it's along to Donovan, to Davies. This is Gravel. The immediate Welsh riposte as always. Evans, the fullback, out to Ackerman. Ackerman going for the corner. Big, powerful boy tried to give it inside to Lewis. And Wales going for the lead again as Scotland wait for the replacement to come on. That was a thumping tackle by Jim Renick. And here, number 18, with Ian McGregor, the chairman of the Scottish selectors, is Gordon Dixon of Gala, and he's coming on for his 9th international. He's played number 8 before, although it may well be that White will go into number 8. We'll see when the first scrummage comes along. So Scotland only 5-6 metres from their own line, and Alan Phillips to throw. Oh, that was a super jump by Norster, the new cap. And Dixon in there very quickly, but been penalised for offside. It was further back, I think. So Gerald Williams, full of Little cheeky touches there, as every really good scrum half should be. A very experienced little player, Gerald Williams of Bridgend. He's actually vice-captain. And so it's going to be another kick at goal. All the same, it must have encouraged the Scottish side that they scored such a simply superb try, although the absence of Paxton certainly reduces their line-out potential. So Gwyn Evans to try and put Wales ahead. Oh, that was badly pulled, taken by John Rutherford. So Gwyn Evans, who's played a lot of his rugby as a stand-off half, and in fact got his first cap against Scotland as a wing last season. Rutherford gets it going, taken by Butler. Butler hands on to Moriarty. Alan Phillips has a little wee keek round the side there just to try and find out where the ball is, but Jean-Pierre Bonnet, this tiny French referee, but a very authoritative little man. So Ian Paxton, we hear, may have damaged his knee, as Wales just outside the 22. Butler, the kick on by Williams. Labour had left it to White. And that's a penalty to the Welshman again, I think, for the Scots going over the top of the ball. Certainly it was a very useful situation for the Welshmen to have won the ball in, because their backs were all primed.
And almost identical to a previous occasion, it's Gerald Williams, the scrum half, who's the little general this afternoon. Wales are winning quite useful possession in the loose, and it was he who put the ball into the box again. And Scotland have been rightly penalised by Mr. Bonnet, because they are diving over the ball and killing Wales, stopping Wales having the second and third phase possession.
So that's roughly the distance for Gwyn Evans again. The 24-year-old from Maesteg, who equalled the world record, you remember, against the Frenchman with his 6 penalty goals. Record since equalled by Ollie Campbell, held by Don Clark and Gerald Bosch, the Springbok. Now he'll be keen to pop this one between the posts, because you don't want too many misses on a day like this. Big roar from the crowd, but again just whizzing past that left hand upright, and little look of concern on his face, wondering where the kicking touch has gone for the moment. 18 minutes into the first half, Scotland ahead 4-3. Rutherford gets it going. Williams, Davies, Gravel, beautifully tackled by Renick. Davies had been round in the loop. That was the kick through by Rutherford. Up comes Dixon, it's kicked on by David Johnston. Back goes Moriarty. He's going to have to play it short of the line. There's a real chance there for Scotland. He may be penalised. The penalty is given to Scotland away back down the field. The referee may well have seen something off the ball, but certainly it's the chance for Scotland, and there's Jim Renick is going off the field for a moment, but I think all the folk in my hometown of Hawick and the borders of Scotland will breathe a sigh of relief that it's just a jersey he needs. There was a time long ago when you had to pay for your jerseys from the Scottish Rugby Union, but you probably get it free now. Great lad Jock Weems had a great story that when he played for Scotland after the First World War and asked for his jersey, they said to him, but you got one before the war. Now then, the Scottish skipper, 251 points for Scotland, playing his 49th international today, just one behind Sandy Carmichael's Scottish record of 50. Andy Irvine, the chip, but also like Gwyn Evans, just pulling it past the left hand upright. And so Scotland stay ahead by 4-3, and Gerald Williams, who's full of get up and go today, ready to take that short one. However, Scotland had it well marked through Deans and Baird, and so it's Davies. White went up for it. Tomes got it. Now White drives, gives it on to Calder. Now it's Cuthbertson. That was superb work by the Scottish forwards. Very close to the touchline. Now it's Laidlaw. Moriarty was the man who managed to stop him. Laidlaw still going, coming inside, looking for support again from his breakaway forwards. Pick up and feed out from Deans. This is David Johnston. Caught there by Clive Burgess. That was Alan Phillips, number 2, trying to push it clear, and Tomes tries to push the hand off it. And Jean-Pierre Bonnet taps Alan Tomes, and he may have been penalised. And he's disappointed because, you know, in the hurly-burly you are expected to get the opponent's hand off the ball, but maybe he was just a bit too physical about it. So this is developing into a thoroughly exciting contest. There's some really hard work down there amongst the forwards. Bill Cuthbertson is at the front, and there the great prop face of Graham Price. He's done some fantastic work over the years for Pontypool, played for Pontypool as a schoolboy. White just beaten to it. Burgess drives on. A man from Ebbw Vale. Now it's Williams. That was meant for Rodri Lewis. Lewis caught by Cuthbertson. Into Scottish territory. Down goes Deans, but it's Burgess who wins it, but in trouble from Williams as Tomes drives on. Tomes having a tremendous game for the Scots. The big 17-stoner. Now it's back to Williams. Gareth Davies, half charged down by Rutherford. This is Baird. Baird stepping clear and lifting it high. Back goes Gwyn Evans. He'll have to play it. Oh, he did that well, but he hasn't found touch. Roy Laidlaw. Renick is inside him without the number. Laidlaw going on. Heaves it inside. That was inches away from Renick's outstretched hand. Robert Ackerman trying to clear for the Welshman.
Well, this first half is really showing the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. Wales seem to be winning good quality possession, but just at the crucial moment really are giving it away, allowing Scotland to play the sort of game they've had to play over the number of years. And they are so full of confidence at the moment that they're really making the most of their opportunities. And when there is a breakdown or somebody fails to find touch, we saw that counter-attack there set up again by Baird. And quite honestly, I'm sure the Welsh heart stopped because the pass inside to Jim Renick really was only a fraction away from what would seem a definite score. So the match is developing to a real cracker. Some 5 movements, both sides prepared to spin the ball. Wales winning the ball from good position, but unfortunately at the crucial moment not quite having the control.
Richard Moriarty restored, and Scotland as close as, what, 10 metres? Trying to turn the Welsh scrummage there. And Gerald Williams with a nice little bit of cover behind which to operate, gets his kick in. Happy thought for Scotland too that number 18 there, Gordon Dixon, is an experienced international player. For his first cap against the All Blacks in '78. This is Laidlaw. Misses out, Rutherford goes to Renick, trying the drop goal. It looks straight enough. It's perfect. Jim Renick has done it once more. Just as he did against the Frenchman, the same kind of situation. The ball from the line out, missed out the standoff. Renick looked, popped, and that was it. A lovely kick.
But full credit to Jim Renick, calling in all his experience. A poor pass really, which most people would have probably tried to kick out for touch, but making the most of that situation and dropping a fine goal.
7 points to 3. Scotland lead, 15 minutes to go to half-time. Donovan puts it up into Scotland's 22. That's Alan Donovan, who had that marvellous game, I thought, against England, the most penetrative back in that match. Brodrie Lewis, number 7 at the tail. Colin Deans, though, to throw, trying to use Alan Tomes. That was Butler who managed to get himself inside there and managed to rescue it for Wales, and now it's Williams. Davis, Gravel, inside to Ackerman. Scottish marking was good. Rutherford feeds it out, and Calder has burst clear again. Out to Renick. Renick running all the way. Ackerman trying to catch him. Renick going all the way. What a magnificent try. And the Scots are absolutely delighted. Jim Renick follows his drop goal with a try, and that's his 3rd try in a row at Cardiff. It was Rutherford who worked it clear. The marvellous one-handed take by Calder. Now watch Renick here. He felt the cover coming to him. He felt Ackerman come, and then that little swing of the hips took him away. Brilliant stuff. And Jim Renick has now scored 3 tries in successive internationals at Cardiff, and there can't be many fellas who've done that. Robert Ackerman, the Newport right wing, goes off the field along with Jerry Lewis there.
Yes, unfortunately, as he tried to tackle Jim Renick there, I feel that his trailing foot caught Ackerman on the face, and he may require a stitch or two.
Andy Irvine has no problems whatever with that kick. And Scotland are suddenly in the saddle at 13 points to 3.
Oh, we see this rerun again. Well, everybody's got to give credit to Scotland. Jim Calder passing on to Jim Renick here. But whilst he's enjoying this tremendous run for the Welsh goal line, look at the support there from Johnson. It's really, Wales must be looking at one another. They set up that score once again by trying to overcomplicate a move. Coming back inside, Ackerman coming back from a switch in the centre, which meant that Wales were running back into the Scottish strength. The Scottish strength was the defence, and that allowed Calder to make most of that loose ball situation and set Jim Renick away.
Gareth Davis gets it going again. Ian Stevens couldn't quite hold it. Jim Aitken couldn't get a foot to it. Moriarty picks up, and the referee's whistle has gone for a penalty for offside. Robert Norster and Alan Tomes have a slight tete-a-tete there, but all is well and all restored. And up comes Gwyn Evans. Now there's a bit of booing round about the ground, and perhaps because Wales are having the go at the kick instead of running it, but obviously is very important indeed for the Welshman. That's it, 13 points to 3. So Gwyn Evans, who has missed a couple of kicks, and that can get to a fellow unless he manages to get one over, and once again gets the feel of his routine and style and confidence. So an important kick for the lad from Maesteg. That looks a lot better. Oh, it's dead straight. "13 points to 6, 11 minutes to half-time, and it's all happening at Cardiff."
And as you so rightly said, Wales really needed the points on the board there, because Scotland have their tails up. There is no doubt about that. So Wales are obviously losing a little bit of their confidence now, and we'll have to really watch that they don't give Scotland any more opportunities for those long run-ins.
Wales still down to 14 with Robert Ackerman off the field. But here he is, this lad who once scored 6 tries against Gloucester. And we believe he's had a stitch put into a cut, but obviously raring to go again. Son of Doug Ackerman, who used to play flanker for Newport. White, Laidlaw. Laidlaw running into Burgess. That's Gordon Dixon. Dixon, as he often does for his club, Gala, driving round the edge of the breakdown point. So they're just outside the Welsh 22. Yes, that Welsh scrummage looked very efficient indeed against the English, but the Scots once again have held them. That'll give the Scottish forwards confidence as Rutherford has a go, linking once again with his breakaway forwards. Now it's back to Laidlaw. Laidlaw exploring the blind side. Taken in by Deans. And there's the ball between the feet and the ruck ball. Out to Rutherford. Renick can't hold it first time, but he gets through second time. There is a real chance here as he gives it outside to the new wing, Jim Pollock. Pollock 5 metres short. Scotland rampant here as it goes out to Renick again. But the referee's whistle had gone, and they'll have to scrum it.
Well, that was a case of the Welsh backs really leaving it to everybody else to make. And in one swift movement, Jim Renick couldn't believe it made such a devastating cut. And Wales would really, once again, only have themselves to blame had Scotland scored.
So that's the first collapsed scrummage of the match. And Jean-Pierre Bonnet, who used to play standoff and fullback, not terribly well, he said. But he just goes round to warn the forwards to keep it up. That's the pick up by Butler. Well tackled by Dixon. In goes Calder with the tackle. Moriarty managed to feed it back. Now it's Williams back there to Davies. Oh, that was a splendid kick. So Gareth Davies with the need there just to calm his fellows down a bit. And this maelstrom here, all the excitement and pulsating action that we've had. And they're on the Welsh 10 metres line. Dixon got hands to it. Now it's Calder. Calder driving through, caught there by Price. Lost the ball in the tackle and Butler has it. But Butler was turned, and the Scots may well... Yeah, they're all looking and saying, wasn't he offside? But in fact, there were players all over the place. Ian Milne, number 3 on this side, the captain of Heriots this season. Heriots, who played against Cardiff, just over the back of that big north stand last night. One of several Scottish club sides down here playing. Now it's Williams. Lovely switch pass to Rees. Rees chased there by the two redheads, Gordon Dixon first of all, and then Jim Pollock, number 14. Clive Rees, formerly of Loughborough Colleges, born in West Wales, 9 years based in London. A flying machine. Scottish 10 metres line. Cuthbertson has moved back. White got hands to it, taken by Milne. Welsh forwards won it well there. That's Williams, gives it on there to Burgess. Burgess one-handed to Phillips. Phillips thrown down by Tomes. Now it's back to Laidlaw. Rutherford. Boom. Doesn't miss many of those, John Rutherford. Plays for the Selkirk club that had great Scottish players like Willie Bryce, Jack Waters, Jock King, Jock Ingles. The vast bulk of Ian Milne. And Phillips throws. Moriarty takes, but throw in not quite to the referee's liking. So just a little bit of a draft getting up there, as you see from that touch flag, but nothing serious at the moment as Laidlaw feeds Rutherford. Out to Renick. Renick has missed out Johnson to Baird. Now it's Baird to Johnston. Johnston left-footed, kicked too far. That's the slight figure of David Johnson down there, who completed his law examinations yesterday, arrived at Scottish HQ a bit later than usual. Then 12 metres outside Scotland's 22. Alan Phillips from Kenfigill. Right over there. Laidlaw's kick charged down by Graham Price. And there's a certain amount of width to get Graham Price that makes it difficult to get a kick past him. 13 points to 6. Scotland lead. 5 minutes to go to half-time, plus a bit of injury time. And Wales within 15 metres. Ainsley's throw gathered in again by Burgess. What a floor worker. Now it's Lewis. Lewis, the lad from Cardiff. Now Williams. Pumping tackle there. And Scotland get the put in. Yes, Gordon Dixon with another cracking tackle as Gerald Williams came round the side of the scrummage. Yes, Wales have taken one against the head, along to Davies. Davies catches his man, couldn't give it to Gravel. Once again, Burgess went down, and John Rutherford, who's a very sporting player, going up and apologising because he just caught Clive Burgess's hand as he went for the ball with his boot. But a significant scrummage there for Wales. However, Laidlaw gets it back to his partner, and Rutherford does the necessary. He's gained in stature considerably, John Rutherford, this season. Much more authoritative, and when he runs well, anything can happen. Eddie Butler, number 8, who has come into the side for Jeff Squire, his Pontypool clubmate. And Butler, number 8, there leading the Welsh pack. Good jump by White. Cuthbertson takes it in. And the Scots have made a feature of that, trying to drive their line-out ball, but Burgess somehow has included. And that's another very valuable bit of work by Clive Burgess, former merchant seaman. And that's him, last man up. Where am I, he says. But crucial work that when the other side have won the ball at the line-out. And a forward like Burgess can burrow his way in and steal it.
Yes, there's no doubt that he's opened up an all only he received in the Twickenham match, and Wales really need his verve and his commitment, because it's not often that we get a sigh of anticipation at the Arms Park when the opposition have got the ball in their hands, and this is what's happening when those Scottish backs get the ball from Rutherford. But Wales, on the other hand, are obviously looking for a score. Score is 13-6. A good try here and a conversion would obviously put them back in the match. But quite honestly, the opportunities they are presenting Scotland with, and the way in which Scotland are really making most of those mistakes by Wales, anything could happen, as far as it could either be a cricket score for Scotland, or we may find Wales clawing their way back into the match.
2 minutes to go to half-time. Scotland still 7 points clear. And the singing starts, just to give the Welsh team an extra lift. Everybody aware of this remarkable ground record of theirs, 27 championship games here on the trot without defeat. Williams, Davies, Gravel on the dummy run. That was Clive Rees, tackled by Renick. Great feature of Renick's play, tackling the pick-up by Donovan. And just signs that the Welsh forwards are perhaps more adept at winning that breakdown ball, even occasionally when the opposition have it. So that's the Scottish goal line. Andy Irvine, you'll notice, over on that left-hand side, because he perhaps expects an intrusion by Gwyn Evans. Williams, yes, he was right, it was Gwyn Evans, and Irvine got him. Brilliant work by the Scottish captain. He really did tap his opposite number. Wales have it again. Williams out to Davis, along the line to Gravel. Gravel half through. That's the pick-up by David Johnston, bursting out of defence again, gives it to Deans, on to Tomes. They're over the 22 now. Now it's Gordon Dixon. Laidlaw burrowing in. And maybe hinting to the referee that somebody held it in. This big crowd really are loving every moment of this thoroughly exciting match.
I would really like to see Wales trying to give their wingers an opportunity. They tried to burst around the side of the scrum, they tried to burst through the middle, but maybe a quick pass to Clive Rees on the left wing may be the answer, especially against such an inexperienced newcomer to the Scottish side.
Another good Scottish scrummage. Rutherford from Laidlaw. And Scotland get a little bit of relief. Yes, it wasn't a bad kick, says John Rutherford. Didn't quite catch it right, but it's there. Now Wales have Rodri Lewis there opposite Jim Calder, still the two rear men at the line out. White is second from the back for Scotland, marking Eddie Butler. The two number 8s. Catch by Norster. Now it's Lewis who came in, now Phillips. The two Cardiff forwards there helping each other. And White there getting stood on because he's over on the wrong side, but Williams was going to get into you, but the referee gave a penalty for offside, I think waiting for the advantage to accrue. So this pressure being put on by the Welsh forwards at the scrummage, and indeed an occasion at the line out too, is certainly giving Gwyn Evans the chances to kick Wales back into contention. Played 6 times for the Welsh schools. Gwyn Evans, he's one of the Welsh lads who had very frustrating experience with knee trouble, was out for 18 months. And that's the daunting task, of course, of following in the footsteps of J.P.R. Williams. A contrasting type altogether, but making a very good stab at it indeed. Evans then with the chance of a third penalty goal. Yes, he got good timing into that. His rhythm was good. It's all the way. So the deficit cut to only 4 points. 13 points to 9. We're 2 minutes into injury time at the break. And Welshmen here quite naturally are much happier now.
And the scoring opportunities becoming more or less a pattern. Scotland giving away yet another penalty in that position of the field where they tend to dive over and try and kill the ball. But I'm wondering what Wales have got up their sleeve now to give Scotland another opportunity with a loose ball so that they can counter-attack from inside their own half, Bill.
Rutherford restarts. Williams. Gareth Davies. Well, that really was all like clockwork, wasn't it? There's a good lot of yapping and howling because we have a kind of streaker tottering around, running the risk again of pneumonia, and the arm of the law is about to come out. Well, need anything more be said? Back to the real action now on halfway. Rodri Lewis gathers in. Calder tries to wrestle it. All the distractions of the day as this streaker fellow tries to interrupt the game again. And I think although there is some amusement round the ground, everybody hopes that he'll take his leave, or that somebody will suggest to him that he does so. Like that. Laidlaw, Rutherford, trying to find space. Clive Rees came across, up went David Johnston. Pick up there by Gordon Dixon. Now nicely back again to Laidlaw. This is Rutherford along the line there to Pollock. Pollock has Irvine outside him. Irvine going outside Clive Rees. The cross kick there caught by Eddie Butler. He's tackled by Deans, but he'd made the mark. Ian Milne in on the tackle as well. And so Butler puts it into touch. The referee's whistle goes for half-time. and that has really been a thoroughly exciting first half. Scotland leading by 13 points to 9, and certainly with some satisfaction in having scored 2 tries to none, but the game absolutely wide open. And look at that view from down there at the taff end. That marvellous north stand swinging round towards that taff end, and over there at the east terrace, 53,000 odd folk there, and the 7,000 or so Scots, well, you can see how pleased they are with the situation so far.
And here's the other Scottish try, which Gareth Davis had unfortunately failed to make most of the situation for Wales there, and it was Baird who got away. And look at the support from Ian Paxton there at number 8. Rather unfortunate that he damaged his knee here in this tackle, probably twisted his knee as he went down, but it was Alan Tomes who carried it on, and a fine try by Jim Calder. Nothing could be said but to show a lot of praise on them.
So we've had just the usual start to the second half, the kick-off by Scotland, and Gareth Davis here getting the game going again with the dropout. Gerald Williams adjusts the pass beautifully. Gareth Davis, it's a very long kick straight in, but from the sanctuary of the 22. Gareth Davis, who went to Gwendraeth, same school as Barry John, Carwyn James. My goodness, they've turned out some standoffs there. See the size of Jean-Pierre Bonnet beside Alan Tomes there, 6'5", and Richard Moriarty the same. White got up to that one. Laidlaw bursting. Laidlaw the dummy. Feeding on to Calder. White was there as well. Again, tremendous support for each other by the Scottish breakaway forwards. But this really is the area where perhaps they're seeking the keenest improvement. Just as they run into the tackle, the ability to repossess the ball reasonably quickly. Wales obviously have been studying Scotland on film and realising how cleverly they've set up their ruck ball by flipping it sometimes between the feet for the others to drive over. And they've managed to neutralise that to some extent in this match.
And a lot of people tend not to give credit to the Scottish forwards. They tend to say that their main strength is in the ability of their backs to capitalise on loose situations. But really, the Scottish pack there have played well throughout the championship, especially apart from possibly against Ireland. And they do set up some good loose ball situations for their scrum half. And Laidlaw has now taken a tremendous amount of confidence in the last number of games, and he's really showing his worth.
Jim Aitken, number 1, the Scottish pack leader there, and captain of the Gala Club in the Scottish border country, just reminding his forwards of the need to perhaps move the ball a little quicker before they get enmeshed. And so Rodri Lewis all right, happily, and this is taking place 10 metres outside the Welsh 22. That's a free kick for delay. Right along the line there to Gravel. The pass much too high there for Robert Ackerman.
And Jean-Pierre Bonnet there giving Gareth Davis the opportunity of the penalty, because the Scottish forward hadn't retreated 10 metres and given Wales the opportunity to move that ball.
Gareth Davis hasn't found touch. Roger Baird has. So that's young Roger Baird, who's playing in his 5th international today. 19 tries he scored this season. So Jim Aitken at the front for Scotland, opposite Graham Price. Bill Cuthbertson opposite Richard Moriarty. Robert Norster at 4, alongside Alan Tomes. Laidlaw. Renick once again. That's another beautifully directed kick, but it sat up on its end, and Evans had real trouble there as Pollock went up for it. And it's a penalty for holding on. Deans and Rodri Lewis having a battle for the ball, but the referee's whistle had gone. Gwyn Evans, the fullback, penalised for holding on to the ball on the ground. The law says that you either have to get up, or you have to play it or release it. So, a dramatic moment, even though we've only gone, what, about 3.5, 4 minutes into the second half, as Andy Irvine tries this kick. Now it's much more difficult than it seems from there, because he's well out towards the touchline, and this could be an important kick for Scotland, because it would put them 7 points clear again. Andy Irvine, just a chip, but again hooked past. So it stays at 13 points to 9, Scotland ahead. And the drop kick out by Gerald Williams going straight into touch, and Scotland go for the scrummage. Now Roy Laidlaw and John Rutherford had a little chat there. Incidentally, you notice that Derek White is packing at number 8 for Scotland, where he's played before for his club Gala. Laidlaw, Rutherford, thinking of the drop goal. Half dummy, caught by Lewis.
Yes, we saw Scotland looking for the opportunity of a drop goal there. I'm sure that they feel that if they can get one more score, they may get out of sight from the Welshmen. That obviously give them the initiative, and that's why I think they were setting themselves up for the quick drop goal there, of be looking for any opportunity to score and try and make the gap so far beyond Wales that they can really run away with it.
So that's on the Welsh 22. Williams to Davis. Davis gave himself a bit of room as he'd made that little jink. So he's kept pretty well, Gareth Davis, today, but of course the whole crowd are hoping that he'll get the chance to run. Jim Calder still at the back opposite Rodri Lewis, no change there, and up goes Norster. That was a lovely jump. Now it's Gareth Davis. Oh, and he was caught there by Calder and half by Rutherford. Wales have repossessed. Williams along there to Donovan, out to Clive Rees. Rees trying to come inside Pollock, well tackled by him. In goes Milne with a tackle. Williams straight out. So a feature of the Scottish play has been their quickness onto man and ball, their quick engagement of the opponent in possession. Halfway, Deans trying to use White. Rodri Lewis gets it. Now Burgess driving. Burgess well tackled there by Cuthbertson. Now it's fed back to Williams. Gareth Davis caught by Calder. A real chance here as David Johnston kicks on. Johnston and Deans out in front. Can they control it? Deans trying to feed it out there to White. They're in front of the Welsh post once again. Now it's Laidlaw. Out there to Rutherford. Rutherford to Renick. Renick gives it to Irvine, to Pollock. The new cap has scored. Oh, what a moment for an international debutant. Jim Pollock brought in at the 11th hour, and he stretches Scotland's lead to 17 points to 9 with about 8 minutes to go. Wales were in possession. Gareth Davis was caught by Calder, and that's where the ball went loose. Now David Johnston played football for Heart and Midlothian. He had an awkward bounce here. It just skidded off his foot. Colin Deans was up, so was Derek White. Robert Ackerman was back to help. Down went Johnston. And then if you watch here, Laidlaw sent Rutherford away. Renick made a superb run. Andy Irvine was in the line. Out to Pollock. They thought he'd put a foot on the line, but he hadn't. It's a try. I'll tell you, there's a young fellow who thinks that everything's all right with the world at the moment. Jim Pollock of Gosforth and Northumberland. And his captain, Andy Irvine, with the most difficult of all kicks for him, right from the touchline on that side. Trying to chip it. Oh, he's done it.
And is that the score that I suggested a few minutes ago that really takes Scotland beyond Wales's opportunity? Here it is again. And may I say, yet again during the match, it was the the Welshman who really gave Scotland the opportunity. That was the ruck situation that had happened underneath the Welsh posts for the winger Jim Pollock to score. But Wales really have to look at themselves yet again, that they've given Scotland the opportunity for David Johnson to break through and break upfield.
19 points to 9, Scotland lead. We're 9 minutes into the second half. Not 10 metres and back they come. Well, the Scots must be feeling that they have a chance now of going into the history books, although there's a long, long way to go. And Wales have been renowned in the past for fighting back. Laidlaw, again out to Rutherford. Once again judging the pace of his kick well. Evans in bothered, did well to keep his eye on the ball there with half of Scotland on him. Scotland getting the put in, being deemed not responsible for stopping play.
See, the difference is now is that Scotland obviously look forward. They want to score, they want to have the ball, and Wales obviously really need that. They really know that they need a score and to really get back into the game and to control it a little bit tighter.
Laidlaw, Rutherford again, and Rutherford dying to run, gives it out again to Calder. Calder, the flanker, always present, but it's a penalty. Playing the ball after the tackle, and a brief stoppage for an injury to the Scottish standoff. Well, John Rutherford has had a remarkable season as well. In his 4 internationals this season, he's scored in every one. A couple of drop goals and a couple of tries. Altogether 6 drop goals and 3 tries for the Scots. And today, of course, celebrating a record as the most capped Scottish standoff of all time. Beats Gordon Waddell's record. Gordon Waddell, remember, who played in that last Scottish victory here in 1962 when Scotland won 8-3. And that was Scotland's best win, so there with their 10 points lead at the moment. Scotland going pretty well.
Yes, and I don't really, the way I look at the Welsh backs coming into action, they don't really seem to have the commitment and the decisiveness of their Scottish counterparts, and it's really going to take a superhuman effort by the Welsh side now to come back into this game.
Gareth Davis prods the Welshman back up to halfway, and we've played 12 minutes of the second half. 19-9 to Scotland. Jim Aitken there, cajoling, pleading, snarling to keep his forwards going. Cuthbertson tried to take it, number 4 at the front. Deans kicks on. Ball was knocked forward as Cuthbertson went through. Cuthbertson, the only West representative in the side, Scottish team. Gerald Williams waits, and the Scots have pilloried that ball, but pillaging by the Scots, but a penalty for being round on the wrong side. Referee deciding, I think, that they detached from the scrummage when the ball was still in. Gareth Davis, but he's got the touch. It looked as if it may well have gone into touch and goal. But the touch judge over there, Jean-Claude Ichet, who's on France's international panel, there he is, hasn't had an international yet, but he was well positioned, and so Wales are as near as that to Scotland's goal line. Dean's keeping it close. Drive by Butler, Rodri Lewis. Clive Burgess in there as well. Now it's Alan Phillips burrowing out there to Williams, along to Donovan. This is Gravel. Gravel caught. Now it's Scotland in the person of Milne. Renick. He hasn't found touch, but Clive Rees has a long way back to go. This is Billy Wiz. Turned, as the book says. Now it's out to Gareth Davis, and there's an overlap here as Gravel gives it out there to Ackerman. Ackerman chased by Renick and caught by him. Inside to Davis on the Scottish 22. Dixon managed to get the ball for the Scots. And that was a great bit of coverage by the Gala flank forward. And the referee has given a penalty for, it looked dangerous use of the foot against Roy Laidlaw. That's the 12th penalty to Wales, and we make it 4 to the Scots. And it's a penalty that the Welshmen will be delighted to have. Now, the whole crowd would love them to run it, and Andy Irvine is having a look there just to checking with the referee as to the reason.
I can appreciate the frustration on the Scottish side, and especially in Laidlaw. He's probably a scrum half watching the ball coming back, and there were probably a number of hands on it, and obviously wanted to help it on its way. And here's the incident. We probably can see it cleanly from this side. You see there's hands probably trying to stop the ball, but you cannot condone that at all. And Jean-Pierre Bonnet was right, not only to give Wales the penalty, but obviously to give him a good and severe ticking off as well.
It gives Gwyn Evans the chance to kick his 4th penalty goal, and at this stage we can be thinking again of records, because Gwyn Evans had 23 points before this game started. He's already kicked 3 penalty goals. This would give him 35 points. No bother. So the lad from Maesteg, who's cut the deficit to 19 points to 12, with 15 minutes of the second half gone, has also crept within 3 points of the Welsh record for a championship. That's 38 points held by Phil Bennett and Steve Fenwick. So he's got a little milestone to aim at, although he probably doesn't know about it. Irvine again. Clive Rees, who's an old stager, 30 now, and knows not to get over anxious with a ball like that, just in case you knock it on. Gareth Davis gets it going again. Calder picks it out the air. Laidlaw to Rutherford. That's the high one, and up comes Evans. Evans chased and caught by Renick inside his own 22. Now it's Laidlaw, out to Rutherford. Rutherford has Calder there, but Irvine is there. Irvine going for the line, inside, didn't find Calder. That was the interception by Alan Phillips, and that really did save the Welshman on that occasion. Williams again, Davis in his own in-goal area. The kick by Alan Donovan charged down. It'll be a scrum 5 to the Scots.
At international level, and especially in that position on the field, you expect mistakes to be made, but inevitably it's because sides are under pressure. I feel that at the moment Wales are giving themselves all kinds of problems by their own ineptitude.
Alan Tomes is the injured Scot. And this is it. This is Williams feeding back now. They were in their own in-goal area here. Gareth Davis trying to launch an attack. Alan Donovan's kick charged down by David Johnson. And Colin Deans, you'll notice, was very close indeed as Evans made the catch. Because Wales took the ball over their own goal line and made dead, it'll be a scrum 5 to Scotland. A Welshman injured too. Just identify him in a moment. Certainly Alan Phillips, who really saved Welsh bacon there as Andy Irvine flipped the ball back inside. Jim Calder was handy, and if he'd got it well, he was over. But Alan Phillips saved the day. So Scotland's scrummage turn, the pick up by Dixon. Dixon, who's done this so often for his club Gala. In goes Cuthbertson. Roy Laidlaw, of course, has a look at Jean-Pierre Bonnet. He'll be thinking twice about going for the ball with his foot after being penalised not so long ago.
And I wonder if we'll see that famous Scottish traditional movement here and see a wheel near the line coming off the business scrum.
It's a lovely strike by Deans. It's the pick up by White. White's through. White has scored Scotland's third try, and Gordon Dixon, his Gala clubmate there, is overjoyed. So what a lovely moment for White in his second international to score his first try for his country. It was a good Scottish scrummage. They seemed to fall it in, or somebody did, but White had only a couple of meters to go, and he did so cleverly. So we're 19 minutes into the second half. 23 points to 12. And Scotland have scored 3 tries to none. And that is remarkable when you consider 4 tries to none, believe it or not. Jim Pollock, of course, had a try as well. Andy Irvine then with the chance to stretch the lead. Oh, he's done it again. 3 conversions for Andy Irvine, hoists his tally to 257 points.
And it's not often that Clive Burgess misses anybody on the blind side, but credit to Dixon, he have a dip in his shoulder. Burgess goes over the top, and the rest of the Welsh team together couldn't even stop him from 2 yards out.
25 points to 12, and they're into the last quarter. 20 minutes to go as Clive Burgess is held, but manages to get it clear. In goes Stones. Moriarty drives. Gordon Dixon was going to be offside, even though the bodies were on the floor. There were others in contact, and therefore it was a maul or a ruck, depending on whether the ball was on the ground. 13 points clear Scotland. 25 points to 12 they lead. They've won only 5 times here in 28 matches. The last time 20 years ago. Williams, Gareth Davis along the line through Donovan to Evans, the fullback. Evans chased by Renick out to Baird. Baird to Ackerman. Evans to Ackerman as Baird's tackle goes in. Johnson does the interception. And just a little bit of ill temper there, but the referee was on the spot, and it's all cooled down.
And just to show us all that Scotland just aren't an attacking force, we saw 4 men there in a defensive position to try and stop that Welsh counter-attack.
Wales, though, close enough to feel that they could yet get back into the game as Phillips throws long, and it's knocked down by Rodri Lewis. That's Graham Price onto Moriarty. A lovely tackle by David Johnson. The pick up there by Robert Norster, the new cap. Now it's back to Williams. Williams feeding out there to Alan Donovan. The ball went forward in the first place. Rees kicks on, but the referee gives the 22. Tremendous hubbub all round the National Stadium. The 53,000 odd spectators reveling in some splendidly exciting rugby football. John Rutherford hurt there, and so Jim Renick takes the dropout. Butler holds it, caught by White. And I tell you, the forwards down there will certainly feel their bruises tonight, because it's been that kind of forward battle. A lot of running in the match for them as well. Amazing what the human frame will stand nowadays.
Yes, and of course psychologically the difference between the two sides at the moment is tremendously more than their physical involvement, because Scotland are obviously on cue now. They really want to play, they want to go ahead, and Wales are obviously hanging on in desperation, hoping possibly that they can get a score from somewhere.
Great roars of Wales, Wales all around as Laidlaw feeds Rutherford. And Rutherford with one of his typical Philip Hoch kicks for Selkirk, a big one down to Evans. And Evans really had to manufacture that kick. He was outside the 22. He had a couple of Scots right on him. He had to use the weaker foot. Did pretty well to get it into touch up near halfway. So Colin Dean's just taking his time to get the signal right and to let his forwards get their puff back. Number 4, Bill Cuthbertson off Kilmarnock, one of the great Ayrshire Brigade who've done so much for Scottish rugby in recent seasons. Now it's Gareth Davis, Alan Donovan, out to Gravel. Gravel half through, caught there by Renick. The two Lions compatriots there in opposition today. Clive Rees trying to work it clear. Bill Cuthbertson looks round wondering perhaps what day of the week it is. And Francis Palmade has seen some foul play by a Welshman. And there again, under the change in the law this season, the Dutch judges can assist the referee in relation to foul play off the ball. And so automatically Scotland are given the penalty kick. And it's from that kind of distance, but as we all know from the English match of not so long ago, Andy Irvine can thump them over from here. It's a very similar position, in fact, to the one with which he tied the score against England in the very last kick of the match. So Andy Irvine with a fairly dry ball and the chance to stretch Scotland's lead. Oh, he gave it a tremendous thump off the post. Roger Baird is up, goes to tackle Eddie Butler. He gets it out to Gareth Davis. Davis coming inside Dixon, but is caught there by Baird, the left wing. Baird, you'll notice, is stuck in the middle of that maul because he chased his man right across the field. Here he comes back into position. That was an excellent bit of play by the young Kelso wing three-quarter there, the 21-year-old. 14 minutes of the match to go. Scotland leading 25 points to 12. And they've taken one against the head, and Laidlaw switches it to Rutherford. But that was a difficult one for Laidlaw, and the ball didn't go to hand. Across comes Irvine, but it's Rutherford who hoofs it into touch on the Scottish 22. That really was a chance thrown away by the Scots. A ball taken against the head on your opponent's 22. But the call maybe to Laidlaw from Rutherford may just have been a little bit late. Certainly it was a chance wasted. Another lovely jump by Norster. My goodness, he gets off the ground. Out there to Gareth Davis. Donovan, he misses out Gravel, gives it to Evans. He's lost it. Rutherford kicks far, and up comes Baird. But the ball may beat Baird and Ackerman. And of course the situation, the 13 points deficit, time fading away, clearly affected the Welshman there, an uncharacteristic blemish.
Well, their confidence have absolutely been drained from them. The way in which Scotland attack and the slickness, everything seems to work for them. Wales are then in that unenviable position where they're trying to come from behind, are making a lot of mistakes, giving Scotland the initiative.
Alan Phillips cleverly kidding on his throw there. He didn't actually feint it, but he kidded on that he was going to put a long one and held it back. But not straight, and Scotland again with this scrummage on their opponent's 22. Well aware of that score up there, 25 points to 12, 12 minutes to go, and the Scots forwards have won a good ball. Their scrummage is held. Rutherford trying the drop goal. It looks good. It is good. John Rutherford's fourth drop goal for Scotland to add to his 6 tries. It really was the forward scrummaging that did it. They were as solid as a rock. He had a lot of room and time. It still had to be a good kick, and it was. 28 points to 12. 11 minutes to go. Davis gets it started. White comes in and takes it. Down goes Clive Burgess, but may well have been penalised for holding in. John Rutherford. And that again, a discouraging kick from the Welsh point of view, because it pushes them back down again to their 22, and when you look up the field from there, there's a long, long way to go to the other team's goal line. 28 points to 12, 4 tries and 2 drop goals to none, plus 3 conversions. Phillips hoists it, Tomes takes it in. But the Scot had got round, I think, on the wrong side. Now, Gareth Davis is kicking for touch. I think that a lot of folk probably, even in his own 22, would rather that he'd had a go at the Scots by running it. Still, any number of Welshmen here who, with great pride in their country, want to try and lift them to a grandstand finish with their singing. Scottish 10 metres line up, went white again. Calder couldn't hold it. Got it in second time. Marvellous enthusiasm here at Cardiff with 10 minutes of the match to go. And they certainly have been sporting in their reaction to Scotland's efforts. Williams' high kick. Irvine calls, but Butler got hands to it. Now it's out to Williams, along to Gareth Davis. Ray Gravel, he feeds on there to Donovan. He's caught by Renick. In goes Burgess. I'll bet you he comes out with it. There he is. Burgess trying to feed on. Roger Baird plays football with it. And the young Kelso wing, who's tackling like his father of the same name did for Watsonians and Kelso and Edinburgh in the south of Scotland. And Wales must be glad indeed to have a delver and a hewer like this fella Clive Burgess. Alan Phillips again then, gives a little bit rub of the head. That might be a signal. Or maybe a nervous reaction, but anyway, it's the long one to Rhodri Lewis. Couldn't hold it, he may have knocked it forward. But it's fed back there from Stevens, out there from Williams to Davis, Davis to Gravel, Gravel to Ackerman, Ackerman caught by Rutherford. And that is very typical of Scotland's engagement of the enemy. John Rutherford, the standoff, was the man who tackled the wing. Scotland's midfield defence has been so secure today. Deans throws up, went Noster again. Williams, Davies on the loop. That goes to Donovan. That was another brilliant tackle by Rutherford. Inside there to Eddie Butler, and Butler has scored a superb try. 28 points to 16. Scotland lead, 8 minutes of the match to go. And the man who was brought back into the side for the injured Jeff Squire and made pack leader has scored. It was a beautiful move. Gareth Davis was really the lad who made it, because he looked behind Ray Gravel, made the extra man, fed Alan Donovan, and then Rhodri Lewis was up to take the pass, and as he went into the tackle, gave it inside to the scorer, Eddie Butler. So that's a great feeling for the big lad from Pontypool. Playing in his, his 6th international today, and it's given Gwyn Evans this chance to raise the Welsh score. (28 points to 18). 7 minutes to go.
Wales salvaging something from the game. A fine try set up, and really the try was made there where Gareth Davis on the loop from Ray Gravel gets through Renick and Jim Calder onto Donovan, who does well to keep the ball going. And Rhodri Lewis and Eddie Butler as back rowmen doing the job, backing up to the end, and a fine try set up for them from a position just inside the Scottish 22.
So the game very far from over yet. Plenty of action to come yet. 6.5 minutes plus injury time. Irvine gets it going once again. Gwyn Evans. Oh, and they're opening out again to Gareth Davis. That's a lovely bit of running by the Cardiff standoff. The Welsh skipper trying to link up with his forwards. Now it's Alan Donovan. This is tremendous stuff, and it's fed out from Lewis along the line to Gravel. Gravel to Ackerman, up to halfway. Butler has repossessed. Burgess feeds on to Stevens. This is tremendous Welsh stuff. Stevens, the big lad from Bridgend. Burgess has repossessed once again. Now it's out to Williams. Half knocked down with the pass as Dixon goes in, the kick on by Deans. Back there goes Clive Rees, the pick up by Johnston. It could be another try for Pollock. Pollock is going to give it to Jim Calder, but the pass was forward. Oh dear, it's all going here at Cardiff. Jim Calder might well have scored his second try. Pollock was the lad, a super tackle by Ackerman. He popped it up, but it went forward.
Well, you can't say anything about that. I'm sure that Jim Pollock, if he could go through that again, would have loved to have given it to the outside where there was a definite Scottish goal. But he was so close to the line that he obviously thought he was going to make it. It's the Scottish back row of Dixon again, and Jim Calder took chasing everything, as I mentioned to you earlier. He's so full of running now that there's nothing stopping him. Fine work by Johnson, and really it's there that possibly in hindsight he may have passed it out to his right, or actually a bit more determination would have got him there himself. But really Scotland must feel a little bit unlucky not to score.
Gerald Williams gets it away nicely. Gareth Davis almost touching that dead ball line, hasn't found touch. Andy Irvine over the 22. Chip kicks forward. Williams can't hold it. In goes Evans. The Scots have won it again to Laidler, but the referee had seen an infringement, and it'll be the Welsh put into the scrummage. This really has produced so much sparkling and spectacular action. What an international to end the season with. Williams again, but Gareth Davis in his own in-goal area, and again hasn't found touch. Andy Irvine, will he try a drop goal? Oh, he's in two minds, and he says, I'll pop it in, but it hits the line and it goes straight out.
Yeah, because the game has now come into a position where it's so open that it's probably reminding a few of them that it's a seven-a-side game. Scotland, obviously, in the driving seat, will be looking to getting even better quality scores if that's at all possible, and Wales obviously are looking to salvaging something from the game, although I think that the result is beyond them at the moment.
Just over 3 minutes of the match to go, 28-18, and Calder goes through, but Lewis saves for Wales. Now it's Cuthbertson who drives in. Scotland going forward, they get the put in. And the crowd really have revelled in the action of this match. Action-packed without a doubt. And that's big Derek White holding the ball in. Scotland have withdrawn Calder. There are several moves on here as it goes to Laidler. There's Calder, the flank forward was outside him, but Laidler took the tackle, and it's a penalty for going over the top. The little jet scrum half might have been better just releasing it to the flank forward and letting him do the charging work, because it's given Wales this chance to open out to Donovan, to Gravel. Gravel to Lewis. Another thumping tackle there by David Johnston. That was Ackerman trying to win it. Now the Welsh forwards trying to retrieve. Williams again. Gareth Davis. Evans, the fullback, in the line. The tackle again by Johnson as Clive Rees goes, caught by Jim Renick. They're just outside the Welsh 22. Now it pops out to Gerald Williams. He's thumped down in the tackle by Jim Calder. And Calder there, one of the four brothers Calder, who all played for the Scottish schools and now all play for Stewart's Melville FB. And with that tackle has caused this delay as Gerald Williams is injured. I think, Gareth, one of the features from the Scottish point of view has been the way in which this scrummage has held together despite just an occasional lapse.
Yes, and Wales have always taken a lot of pride in their scrimmaging effort, and as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people don't give their Scottish side credit where it really matters, and at forward they've done particularly well today, especially in the second half, when a crucial score was needed. They were there doing their work.
1 minute of the match to go as Laidlaw breaks again. Laidlaw over the 22, bursting clean through, trying to give it inside there to Pollock, the new cap. And they're just 5 or 6 metres out from the Welsh line. Jean-Pierre Bonnet seemed to be caught by a boot accidentally just now because he seemed to hurt his left leg. And it's the Scots as time almost goes for the Welshmen. We're virtually into injury time, and Scotland as close as that to perhaps a 5th try. Down it goes. It's hardly surprising there because, as I was saying, those forwards must be feeling the strain now. But still a good strike from Alan Phillips. Williams, Davis. He's kicked it into the middle of the field this time. Across comes Baird. It's Alan Donovan who has it, caught by Calder. Butler tried to win it clear. Now it's out to Williams. He's embraced by Cuthbertson. And that piratical figure from Kilmarnock, I'll bet he enjoyed that. A scrum half at last, he said. Little Gerald Williams, who's as durable as a squash ball, gets up without hurt.
He's probably saying, if I can't score myself, I'll let my mum know I'm playing in this game.
Burgess drives from Gareth Davis, tries to feed on to Butler. The Welsh breakaways in concert there. And once again, it's Alan Phillips, number 2, who does the burrowing. Out again to Davis, along the line to Gravel from... That was Rodney Lewis in the line, gives it to Donovan. Donovan caught again by Renick and by Johnston. Those 2 Scottish centres have never tackled better than they have today. The watch will tell referee Jean-Pierre Bonnet that we played a minute of injury time. 28 points to 18 Scotland lead. Alan Combs, who's really been in pain throughout most of this second half, that giant figure there, number 5, his back has been bothering him all the way through. And Andy Irvine there, who may see his name alongside the 5 others who have led Scottish winning sides here at Cardiff, as Laidlaw feeds Rutherford, and Rutherford has found a lot of space behind Clive Rees. Up comes Jim Pollock. He's caught by Andy Irvine. Down goes Moriarty. And it's a penalty to the Scots for not letting it go quickly enough. I think perhaps against Clive Rees, not so much Moriarty. And they were thinking of taking a tap penalty, but I wonder what... Oh yes, is it going to be a funny one? This is a Hoyk fella. You have to watch Hoyk fellas. Colin Deans. Here he goes into the little umbrella, nicely out to Laidlaw. Andy Irvine couldn't hold it. Down there goes Gordon Dixon. Well, that really has pleased the crowd as well. It was a lovely little move, and a little bit of innovation that the rugby game can well be doing with. 2.5 minutes of injury time played. Williams, Davis, they've got to handle it. Donovan all the way out there to the fullback Evans. Gravel can't hold it. Now it's Evans again as White goes in with a tackle. Calder there too. And so Wales just can't break this Scottish stranglehold that's penned them down there in their own 22. A great strike by Deans. They're holding, looking for the penalty. Laidlaw straight back to Rutherford, out there to David Johnston. Johnston going for the gap, and Johnston is through for a marvellous try. And that surely seals it for Scotland. An absolutely brilliant try for the young Watsonian. Again, it was a lovely scrimmage. Rutherford kidding on the drop goal, and then Johnson coming from behind, and look at that scalding pace clean between Lewis and Rees. That was great. So they'll be jumping about at Myers side at that try by David Johnson, the Watsonians captain. And that puts Scotland ahead by 32 points to 18, and surely out of sight as the crowd, thinking that the match was over, have invaded the pitch and been sent back. And Andy Irvine has got to settle his nerves and his natural excitement as a prospective winning Scottish captain here to try this conversion. Straight there. His fourth successful kick of the match. The referee's whistle goes for the end of the match.
And here we see it's Rutherford who set it up for Johnson to go between the Welsh defence. And whereas he reminds us yet again what a fun-loving game this match is, Wales must be very disappointed with their own performance, but all the credit to Scotland for one of the outstanding matches of the season, and they played the biggest part in that.
And Scots everywhere will be absolutely thrilled. There they are coming in towards their dressing rooms. Alan Tomes, the big man who, as I said, played in pain throughout the second half. And those Scottish forwards who worked miracles here today. Jim Renick, whose tackling was superb and who had a try and a drop goal. Young Roger Baird, who played his part. The disappointment mirrored on the Welsh faces there. But still, a marvellous performance by the Scots. Their first win at Cardiff for 20 years. Historic because they've broken that remarkable sequence of 27 home championship games by Wales without defeat. This, undoubtedly, Scotland's day.
Well, Andy, it's been a long time for Scotland, and possibly for yourself as well, to have this victory at Cardiff, but worth while the wait.
Oh yes, it's a great feeling to win. When you don't win so often, you cherish it that bit more when you do, I think.
Well, you've just mentioned to me that you weren't too confident coming here, but really, could you envisage winning at all, apart from winning in the style you did?
Well, people were tipping us. We were obviously very conscious of the Welsh record. We knew that the Welsh team hadn't been playing all that well, but then again, they still hadn't lost at home for all these years. So we're certainly conscious of that. And what we tried to do was play our own game and not worry so much about the opposition.
Well, you brought a lot of fun back into the game today, and obviously your backs were absolutely devastating.
I was very pleased the way our backs played, yes. I think, though, that people don't realise this is the first decent weather we've played in as a team. And, you know, when it's raining or very windy, it's difficult to throw the ball around. But today there was no excuse. The ball was perfect, the overhead conditions were super, and obviously it's much easier to play good attacking rugby when the weather's good. And fair credit to the Welsh, because they spread the ball around as well.
Yes, but we've given credit to the backs, but of course the forwards throughout the season have played a significant part in getting new possession.
The forwards have played very well. They're not a big pack, but what they lack in size and weight, I think they make up for in spirit. And I was really proud of the way the boys got stuck in today.